Your friendly neighborhood nerd, and welcome back to the branch. Woo woo!
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Uh, we just did that. As always, I'm your host Nate, your friendly neighborhood nerd, and today I'm with my partner in crime, Hector Barrero, also known as
Hilo, what up, y'all?
Halo. Can I get a halo? Halo? No, like that song?
No, you don't need a
no?
Hilo.
Halo. Okay. And today we're talking about probably like the only important thing that needs to be talked about right now. Period.
Life, basically, right now.
Well, yeah, life. Everything that revolves around the sun is now turned into Spider-Man. The sun is turned into the Spider-Man Homecoming logo.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we need to live. Basically, that's what we need to survive.
Its brilliance radiates to us
fantastic.
Here on Earth.
We're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming and everything in its glorious magnitude, and we're gonna
with our totally unbiased opinions,
extremely unbiased opinions, because that movie was just so bad. No, I was kidding. It was fantastic. Because this is kind of like a movie review, we're gonna be doing spoilers towards the end of this, so there will be a spoiler warning. Listen at your own peril, please. I don't want any more hate mail or any.
Prepare your mullets.
Just prepare. So. For this point, from starting off, we're gonna just talk about some cool stuff. Nothing,
generals.
Just generals. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Again,
comparisons to information you already have and whatnot.
Exactly. So again, be prepared for the spoiler alerts that we will be warning you. We need like a soundboard. This is awful. Okay, so starting off, can we just first talk about how awesome it is to have Spider-Man's home, everybody. Spider-Man is home.
He's at home in the MCU.
He has returned. Where has he been?
Prodigal son.
He's been doing terrible movies. That's where he's been. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is not his fault by any stretch of the imagination.
Not his fault. Okay. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. For me, it all started with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the number one dude. To me, it doesn't get better. Captain America's cool. Iron Man's, Iron Man. He's Iron Man. They all have their quirks. But Spider-Man, for whatever reason,
he's special.
He is special. I couldn't begin to explain how different, how unique he is, and just how special he is. Spider-Man's probably one of the of a handful of heroes beyond Marvel, and even getting Marvel, DC, what have you, that just holds a special place in everyone's heart. Yeah.
So very likable, very unique character.
Exactly.
There's not really any other character like him before him.
Nope. So I guess I'm gonna start off with the basic question. Hector, what did the news of Spider-Man coming to the MCU mean to you?
I got really excited just because, when I seen him in Civil War, it was freaking like, I think I orgasmed in the theater when I saw that.
Theater orgasms.
No, because it's just really freaking cool, because, as outside of the movie universe, you've seen that, like, the legal stuff that has gone on with it, and I just didn't expect them to ever cross over again, so to me it was just like, oh, yes, finally, and just thinking about, like, the Avengers, like, that they're huge right now. Is Spidey gonna be an Avenger? That just, all of it sounds really freaking cool to me, just kind of tying them back together, wedding them together was just amazing. So to have him have his own movie, at least, and two, or at least scheduled right now, so that to me is just like, it was the best, bro.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think I completely agree. If anything, this tease at Spider-Man that they gave us at Civil War was kind of mean. I was kind of hurt. I wanted more. I wanted tons more. But and
that was the point.
Yeah, I know. And we got it. And I'm so happy. Like I said, Spider-Man holds a special place, not in just my heart, but in plenty. And I was so happy to have him back. And just I guess what excited me most was kind of like how you said with the Avengers, like the possibilities or what you can go or do with him now.
Right.
And just moving on from there.
And because Marvel has done such a great job with their universe as of...
Oh, yeah, without a question.
It just makes you excited to see something really interesting. You can trust that something good is going to happen, or interesting, or you're going to like majority of it. Maybe not all of it, but majority of it.
Yeah, I think it's like official to say that Marvel movies have like a direct link to my wallet, as broke as empty as it is. But yeah, for
There's
sure.
There's a soul bond there.
Yeah,
sure.
like seriously, like you.
Shut up and take my money.
Exactly. There's only I don't think I've paid for like a bad Marvel movie that I've sat through. To be honest, it's just me personally.
No, I don't. Since the introduction of Iron Man and the start of this series of Marvel movies, no.
Right.
But obviously, Daredevil was horrendous, and
but that's not a
burned and forgotten, and
but that's
in the past.
But that's not a. That's something completely different. That's not
right.
MCU.
It was before the MCU that we know.
I mean, if you want to get into that, Daredevil was bad. Blade wasn't that good.
I think the original Blade movie actually was freaking awesome.
I think it was a little
Trinity.
I think
garbage.
I think it got a little cheesy as it further got down.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to talk about a hands down pre MCU good Marvel movie
with Ryan Reynolds, he's killed so many things before
before
reaching Deadpool status.
I don't know. That's just his thing.
Destroyed so many franchises.
Yeah,
I love the guy, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, for superhero movies, he's done pretty bad. I was gonna say, there's one hands down movie I feel like we can both agree pre MCU that was really good, hands down, Punisher. Yeah,
I liked Punisher. I thought there was some different parts of it that I was just kind of like, it's soft a little around the edges and stuff, and I understood.
Softer for Punisher.
Yeah, exactly.
As a comic and character, but
that's what I meant.
Yeah, no.
Know who Punisher is.
Yeah, but again, this is that was a heavy origin movie, so he's still coming into his own. But we're not.
I like the actor a lot. I forget
for
his
sure.
name, but
I don't think no one knows his name. He's just Punisher.
No one knows. He just walks around just.
He's just the guy that killed John Travolta. That's pretty much it. But we're not talking about that.
We're not.
We're talking about Spider-Man. So going back to Spider-Man, without giving any spoilers, what would you say you liked the most about the movie?
I think the humor level was really great for me, and like I said, with a Marvel movie, you can always expect that something interesting is going to happen, and I think this movie was actually a series of interesting things. Knowing some of I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. I wouldn't say even to the level of super historic knowledge, but I am very interested in Spider-Man and Spider-Verse and what they're doing with the multiverse stuff. So that's really caught my interest. Venom is always awesome. 2099 is one of my favorite concepts of Spider-Man.
Just hop on the bandwagon, why don't you?
I just need to do more research. That's all. I just need to know the history of Spider-Man, but I just haven't done that quite yet. But like I said, it was a series of interesting things for me, and the villains were really cool.
Oh man, love these villains.
Spider Suit was pretty freaking cool.
Spider Suit's amazing.
Different.
Pun intended.
Right,
it was amazing.
It was different from the traditional, but still kept a lot of the traditional values. And but it was new.
He just did a weird hand gesture. You couldn't see it.
It was new and different Marvel.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
No, definitely. It's really hard to answer this question.
Yeah, not one single thing I can say was.
Yeah, it's really hard to answer this question without giving spoilers. So I got to give it to Hector for doing it pretty easily. I made him go first. I made him go first just to see if he could mess it up.
Keeping it vague.
But no, he did. No, he did pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. You know what I thought was really interesting about this movie? That we get to see bonds and relationships, friendships beyond the relationship of Aunt May.
Yeah.
And his school life, you really get to dive into, because they said, it's. I heard them say it, and then I watched it, and I agree to an extent. It's kind of more of a high school movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has that feel. It has that. I think they even make references to Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller was one.
And I think they throw in some Breakfast Clubbish.
Yeah,
kind of feels in there too. So
definitely. Yeah, I think that was really cool. Just something different, like you said, that we haven't seen. That you know what's real funny? It's like stuff we never thought we wanted, and then we had it, and we're just like more. Just give us more, because that was so good.
Manja.
Yeah, whatever that word means.
It means eat.
It does. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm hungry, man. Why? That's messed up.
All right, let's move on.
We haven't had lunch yet. So moving on. So
if you hear a loud grumble, that might be Nate's stomach.
It most likely will be my stomach until we pop up some little seizures.
It's not a defect in the audio.
No. I'll say it is. No.
That'll be the cover.
Right. So going back to what you were talking about, the villains. How awesome was Vulture?
Super well done. Super well done and different from the traditional.
He's not a steak, man. Jesus.
He was well done. He wasn't red. He was very well cooked and refined.
Was he?
Seasoned and spiced.
Seasoned, spiced, and everything
no,
nice.
They did a great job. They did a really great job. With him as a villain, with him as a character, with the tie-ins that they did, just the story was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good, and he took on a leadership role, which isn't necessarily how I picture him, or I don't think I've ever seen him in that role.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the name Vulture says it, itself. He's trying to sustain himself. He's about, he's about one thing, scavenger, only for him. But yeah, you're right. He does take on this leadership role, and he's kind of building his own little, I guess, unit, you'd say, right?
Yeah.
That forges into whatever it forges into. But overall, I thought Vulture was really cool. It's really interesting because you hear stories like this, but then you get to see one where it's like the villain never sees himself as a villain. You know what I mean?
Right.
He always thinks like the villain is the hero of their own story, and that is really
Everyone
heavy.
Is the hero of their,
yeah. So it's like really heavy.
That's a good point.
President in the Vulture story, which we're gonna get into later in the spoilers. But yeah, that was definitely really cool. In comparison to the older movies, what do you think? Older movies, as in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series and the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
So let's I'm just gonna start because this might be a long one.
Yeah, let's start with Tobey Maguire just to go from the beginning.
I think I'll start with the comparison of Tobey Maguire to Amazing Spider-Man, because I actually really enjoyed the Amazing Spider-Man a little more than the original Tobey Maguire movies. The original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was amazing superhero movie, and it's legendary. It's up there with Christian Bale Batman. You know what I mean? The Joker movie. You know what I mean? Like it's up there. It's a legend, I think. And so it holds some kind of special bond with me. But I think I enjoyed the series of The Amazing Spider-Man. Just the writing, the feeling of it was just a little better. The suit was cooler. I liked Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker is more believable for me than Tobey. But Tobey was great too. It didn't have the usual humor that I guess I expected from Spider-Man movies. And I think The Amazing Spider-Man did have more of that like wit and like sarcasm and stuff like that. And I liked the web shooter idea over the chemically produced.
Yes, the organic webbing.
But the organic webbing actually makes more sense to his origin story. So
I could see it, yeah.
But I just like the fact that he does, like, with the mechanical webbing, he can do different things with it. Mm-hmm. He can do multiple settings and stuff like that.
In the new movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it limits his power in a sense because he has to have the capsules, you know what I mean? He has to have a supply.
Yeah, he has to reload his little web shooters and fluid and stuff, right?
And he has to, and it kind of gives him that scientific basis too, because he creates it himself, So I think it kind of makes him more of an intelligent character as opposed to just like, oh, I'm a photographer working for the, you know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, say Daily Planet. I dare you. I double dare you.
No, I was not gonna say it.
Okay.
But I'm just saying he's like
you saved yourself there. You saved yourself.
I know. I stopped myself.
Yeah,
I was
stopped.
Like, what am I doing?
No.
Am I committing a cardinal sin right now?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So no, I think it was really cool because, like I said, it established more things that I would like about Spider-Man, or I do like about Spider-Man, which again is like his intelligence. The uniqueness of his character, the limitations of his power as opposed to like his abilities and strengths. So with all that said, with the comparison of saying that I liked Amazing Spider-Man series a little more than I liked the Tobey Maguire series, this is a start of something completely new, and it kind of blows everything out of the water for me. I think Tom Holland is probably the best choice for Spider-Man in the history of people.
Well, I mean, if you look at Tom Holland's background compared to any Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, he was extremely well equipped. He has gymnastics experience. He's a ballet dancer, like a brilliant ballet dancer. And what else was it? I think he's practiced like martial arts and mixed martial arts as well. So it's like he fits it completely.
Dude, I shared a video the other day just regarding that, like his preparation for this movie, even specifically. Like he worked his ass off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he was in the gym and he was doing everything he needed to do. And that's what I think is pretty awesome about all these new Marvel characters is they really did.
Yeah, they have to commit. Yeah.
Yeah, they really did fucking, you know, if I need to get cut up and look like a superhero, that's what I'm gonna do. And like they were on these regimens and they trained. Yeah. You know, and I think that's, for me, again, you never seen no Tobey Maguire doing some shit like that.
No, but Tobey Maguire could take a nap, wake up, and get swole as get swole as fuck, like
I guess
overnight. You know what I mean?
I think you're just a very Toby. You're a Toby.
I'm not a Toby. No, I'm not.
You're a Toby fan.
Don't.
You're a fan of Toby.
Don't do that.
Anyway,
don't do that. Don't brand me. Don't do that.
No, but Tom Holland was an amazing choice.
Oh yeah.
And I really liked him in this movie.
Cool. Thank you. God, sure took your time with that one, huh?
I told you, man.
That was a long one.
I told you.
How long was that? We got timer, right? Damn, it was like shit.
We're at 15 minutes. You said this thing was gonna go, so
I'm just saying. You know what? It's all good. Go.
Now.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
The gloves are off.
The clothes are. Oh God, I hope the clothes aren't off.
Gloves are off.
You said. I swear you said clothes.
Gloves.
We are recording this. I will go back and check this.
We will check it.
Okay.
If I did,
let me
edit it. I meant to say gloves.
Hit the description below and type where he said clothes.
I can actually edit it. I can edit this.
None of this is getting edited. This is all pure for you. This is straight from my voice to your ears.
All right, keep going. Let's move on.
Let's moving on. Okay, so yeah, you're kind of right. I do like Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield was good because it was more relatable. I think it was funnier. It's weird because what's so, I think, legendary about Tobey Maguire is that he's the footnote. You know, he is the original placeholder for a Spider-Man movie, period. It started with him. It's not going to end with him, but he's the reference, you know? Right. And
Christopher Reeves in terms of Superman.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I think what's really interesting about these movies is the Tobey Maguire movies. I didn't appreciate them as much until I got older because they are for an older audience, you know? And I think the more I watch them, the more I'm like, okay, because I'm kind of going, you know, you eventually go through these things of because my favorite, hands down, which I was telling you not so long ago, was the second one, because I think the eternal conflict between, yeah, you have the power and you have the responsibility, but then, well, what if you don't? Then does that not make you responsible no more? And it just kind of, you know, the overall identity crisis, I think, is something that at one point we all kind of go through. Right. And yeah, it's just, as you get older, it's relatable, and I think that's why I like it. Don't get me wrong, tons of things I did not like about that movie, and to this day, an iconic villain like Green Goblin, I think, was completely butchered. Even Hobgoblin was bad. Venom. Do I even have to really say?
No,
I don't really have. Do I really have to even explain Venom? If anything, Sandman was pretty good because again, another example of doing the wrong thing for the right reason kind of hero. He's not really, you know, he's going about it the wrong way, but
and the actor was good.
It's all pure. I think it fit a little bit easier too. Like he really looked the part. Mm-hmm. If I had which leaves only one villain, which is my favorite, Dr. Octopus, and we were talking about that too in terms of villains. Another really good villain. I think Vulture was a very interesting villain for this movie. I'm kind of wondering like if there was a specific reason for Vulture and for his character doing the things he, you know, or saying the things he says to Spider-Man or to Peter and vice versa. You know, like do you have you think about anything like that? No, any of that kind of pop in your head?
Not in reference to like. Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I guess like the whole what we were talking about before about Dr. Octopus is Dr. Octopus kind of challenges Spider-Man mentally because they're both scientists, and he kind of pushes him to, I guess, like Spider-Man's peak. You know, in a way, he's not. I mean, not really a motivator, but he's always making him, you know, a little bit better than kind of what he already is. Right, you know, where Vulture, it's kind of the same. You know, like he kind of.
In this movie?
Yeah, like it seems like he kind of pushes him a bit to kind of become that amazing Spider-Man, you know?
I think
or something, again, without doing spoilers, he kind of
I think that was a
leads him.
byproduct of.
You think?
I think it was a byproduct of like him just being intimidating and and basically calling him out and just saying like
having to step up.
Right, legit, dude. I will take you out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care. Like, I don't have the boundaries that you have, and this ain't playtime. Like, this is adult time kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
but
in that way.
Yeah, I think that was trying. I think that's where I was trying to go. You know, like he, kind of what you said.
It's real.
Right. It's a lot more real. It's like, you know what, this is adults business, right. And if you're gonna get in, you have to step up, and if you're gonna do it, do it. You know. Which I think is a very pinnacle part from being a kid and being a grown up or an adult, saying what you're going to do and doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Putting it to the metal.
Words are words, but actions,
Exactly. So
they speak volumes.
I guess we can move forward from here. So what do you think about this whole direction, and what's something that you want to see moving forward with the new Spider-Man, from Homecoming?
I guess ideally, I would love to see just his world developed, and I think even in the past that we've talked about, Spider-Man in like a previous video or something like that. And I said it earlier. I love the Spider-Verse. I want to see the Spider-Verse. So if they can make that happen, that'd be great.
So you want these multiple Spider-Man in one movie?
I want multiple Spider-Man. I want Gwen. I want to see different versions.
You hear that, Marvel? You hear that, Marvel? Let's hit up Spider-Ham.
Right.
Let's get that Spider-Ham.
I want all of them. But, and I think that'd be a really cool movie. And it would go along with the kind of production that they use with like Guardians of the Galaxy, because they make those movies really well done. James Gunn is an amazing director. And with the support of the Marvel staff and everything all the artistic, like creative good stuff that's going on over there, they really put together great movies. And I think right now would be the great time to do like a Spider-Verse, or attempt it at least, so that would be cool for me. But yeah, him joining the Avengers, I mean, him fighting in Infinity War, it's going to be amazing. I saw the production sets for it, and like, they're in this, it looks very like desolate and beat up and battle zoned, and it kind of even looks like they're on Thanos' like meteor cluster and stuff. I don't know where it's at, but it looks awesome. It looks badass. It's gonna be epic,
that's for sure.
Yeah, and Infinity War just looks amazing. I'm just so excited for it, and so I think whether or not it goes where I think it should go, it's gonna be amazing. Okay. It's gonna be really cool.
It's gonna be spectacular.
Spectacular, amazing.
Amazing. It's gonna be, what's another one? Grand? No, he's not the Grand Spider-Man.
Was he part of the Infinite?
What? Spider-Man?
Yeah, was he part of that? Because I know there's like an Infinite Iron Man, and like they do the whole amazing, spectacular.
No, I don't think it was it. I think he had a thing like that, but it was superior. But it wasn't him. It was Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man's body.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, it was something else. That would be a badass movie.
That would be kind of. I mean, it was a cool concept, but it was just so off of the wall that you're just like, huh? When? Why?
I think if you read it, you'll like it. I think it's different.
Like I said, I mean, it was a cool tangent, but it was just. I don't think anybody really expected somebody to write a story that way.
No. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else before we get into the spoilers. Is there anything you thought might be cool, or like something that you want to mention that you liked, or maybe even disliked? Is there anything you dislike about the movie?
I would really have to...
With no spoilers.
Yeah, I would really have to do some thinking about that. Because it was much of it was very enjoyable. All the way up into the last parts of everything. I think Flash...
Oh, okay. Flash
I
Thompson.
liked the direction of them making it a diverse character in their casting. And this movie is really good with their casting of characters. And diversifying anyway. But he was just kind of a dick and not a bully.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there really, at this point in age, is there that much of a difference?
Yeah, because in high school, when you have, like, the football player bully that Flash is, like, it's a physical thing, too. You know what I mean? It's like a, move out of the way, Parker! Like, bump him in the hallway kind of thing. Knock over his books kind of thing. Which is more of the, maybe that's too cliche. So I guess, like I said, I thought it was interesting. It was different, but it just wasn't what I was expecting from Flash. He's kind of just like this pretty boy, like Indian guy, with money apparently.
Apparently, yeah, his wicked ass car.
And I'm kind of interested to see where they end up with that character. Is he gonna influence is it gonna like because he's in high school? That might be one of the main characters that's surrounding him. You know, MJ and Flash, and you know they're gonna start telling those stories a little more. Well, I don't know if they didn't really put Mary Jane in it. They didn't really put Gwen in it, so I don't know where they're going.
Yes
with
and
it.
no. I mean, that's stuff we're gonna have to talk about a little
meet,
bit more later. In
is he
terms
gonna
of all
meet
that.
an MJ? Is he gonna meet a little redhead coming into his life at some point?
That's stuff we're gonna have to talk about in the spoilers. If there's, you know what, I found it very interesting. I didn't notice this right away. After I watched the movie and I saw like just to make sure. I like to Easter egg hunt. I like to make sure I got all my things. A very big one that I feel like a lot of people miss, and I'm willing to admit that I missed it too. Peter Parker's friend Ned has the exact same name of the original Hobgoblin. Ned, I forgot his last name, but it's the same name.
Wow.
So I mean, I don't know. That's something to me, I think that's very interesting. They obviously had to do that on purpose. For those, I mean, Hobgoblin's whole thing is, you know, I don't know too much about his origin, but he finds the remaining gear tech of the not current, but of the deceased Green Goblin at that point in time in comics, and dons his own thing. So that might be kind of interesting. Is there a secret villain amongst his group of friends that's going to grow and become something else? You know, just a thought, just an idea.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So,
I didn't know that either. I found that out, and I was like, "Whoa, that's
sure.
That's crazy." I was gonna say something else too. Do you want to get... Okay, I guess we'll get into that. What do you think about the new, younger, apparently hotter Aunt May?
Ho.
Ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho.
Ho ho.
No, I thought it was a different take.
Yeah, different.
Different take than Aunt May has ever been. But, you know, they do kind of introduce it a little bit in Civil War, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of... I was already lubed up, you know what I mean?
Oh, I bet you were lubed up.
Ho.
Ho ho. Ho ho.
No, but ignoring my crassness. No, she like I said, it was a very different take on Aunt May, and they don't traditionalize it at all. I think that's the tone of this movie. Is they're definitely breaking down some boundaries of the traditional storyline, I guess. You know, Aunt May especially, and that relationship and the home life.
Yeah,
seems very
interesting.
Different. Very different than the first sets of movies and just the comic in general.
Yeah, just like off the bat, you know, like even getting to Civil War, they kind of set up this ongoing joke of, hey, Peter Parker has a real hot aunt, you know, which again is different because we're all used to like the granny, you know. There have been some adaptations of Aunt May where she's older, but she's a bit more on like the hip side, so she's like I'd say a bit more adventurous, where she's going out doing more things that people already wouldn't normally do. Right. But this is kind of
more personality.
Right. This is kind of taken away from that completely. She's not the helpless old lady that we saw in Tobey Maguire movies. No. You know, it kind of similar in the Andrew Garfield movies. I actually liked the person they had play Aunt May. I thought it looked pretty good.
Susan Sarandon, I think her name is.
Was that Susan Sarandon?
I think so.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah. We didn't do any prior research.
No, which is fine because we're not talking about those movies. We're talking about these movies. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. If anything, what I liked the most about it is how like kind of aware, you know what I mean, like how into the, I guess, younger, hipper culture she was. You know, like you can't really hide secrets. You can't, like, she's not the old lady that you could tell something to, or like this form of slang and she's not going to understand, you know, like she's more than capable of keeping up with Peter and all his friends and other kids, you know. They actually make her seem kind of like wild a little bit, you know, or like they hint at some of her younger quotation younger days where she's done crazier shit.
Flirtatiousness between like they started this foundation of flirting between like her and Tony Stark, and Tony makes references to it fairly often actually. In the movie, I mean, so I think that was completely different than anything that we've seen before, just in that. And I think, like you said, it sets up this more like adventurous, wild version of Aunt May. Not wild in the negative sense, but more just like you said, adventurous, open, younger.
Aunt's gone active. Wild,
right?
Aunt's gone wild.
Marvel edition. But yeah,
woo, Iron Man, show me your repulsors.
It was a great version of Aunt May, I think, and much more interesting and relatable, and it made more sense for it to be his aunt, and as opposed to it being like a grandma, which is like, why didn't they just make it his grandma at that point? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, kind of thing. So I think that aunt being a little closer to your age, your parents' age, that makes more sense. You know,
Okay.
so that made sense to me.
And I'm gonna ask one last thing. Again, try your hardest without spoilers. And after this, we're gonna get into the spoilers. What do you think of now that we got an in-depth look of the suit?
Oh, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. I think every like direction in terms of visuals in this movie was spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Was completely spot on, and I enjoyed this movie a lot. So there's not many things that I didn't like. But the new suit, again, traditional, but still very new, unique. It has a lot more to it than meets the eye, which is great.
It's a transformer. More than meets the eyes. Okay.
So basically, I just thought it was really cool. And then the next step up is something.
Oh man,
Interesting
the
as well.
idea of a next step
Right.
up from this suit once you really dive into it, crazy.
Because if you don't know like anything about Spider-Man, if you're listening to this, there is more suits he ends up donning at different times. So just knowing that might be a possibility, especially with the Avengers or Iron Man tie-in, you know what's coming already. You're like,
right, exactly, yeah.
Or you want it, you want it to happen.
Right, the hype behind it is fully there.
Right.
You just made me think of one last question. I know I keep saying we're going to move forward, but you know what? I think I have to ask this question. How'd you feel about Tony Stark's part in this movie? His kind of mentor role to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that was enjoyable for me because it's a very funny relationship. It's a very comedic way of going about this relationship, but you don't ever see them interact in that way. At least in anything that I've seen. I think I've seen like there was an animated series. I think Amazing Spider-Man maybe, where he's working with S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's working like to become an Avenger.
Oh yes, yeah.
That was the only time I've seen Tony Stark in, and again, it's not a cinematic role. It was
it's a cartoon show.
But that was the only time I've seen him take any type of mentoring role. But I think it's growth for Tony's character for sure, and I think he's becoming, in terms of his character, from the original Tony Stark to who he is now, in terms of the cinematic universe, he's a completely different person.
Yeah, I feel like he's less gung ho now. He's just less, I'm gonna just go in and wreck shit. He's more planned out. Yeah.
I think in his battle strategy, he's still very head on.
Yeah,
but in the way he approaches other stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely see this level of just maturity.
Yeah.
Period. Like just plain and simple.
I think he's definitely more responsible and reserved.
But yeah, that mainly because the simple fact him and Robert Downey Jr. they're getting older. They're getting older and they're doing more things, and they're age comes knowledge and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And that's another interesting point to see, like, with the diversity that's happening in the MCU, are they going to pick up Riri as a solo character? Is she going to even become like part of some movie franchise in the future? Maybe not just as a character, not as like the main character.
And for those who don't know who that is, you care to explain?
Oh, Riri Williams. She is the newest version of Iron Man, or form of Iron Man. It's Ironheart. And
Ironheart.
It's really cool concept and awesome, I think. Again, in terms of diversifying comics. So it's pretty cool for me, but I want to see if they're really gonna like.
Yeah, that might be interesting. That might be something to tie in. How? I don't know. I mean,
no clue.
Again, it's. I feel like if Marvel really wants to do something, they're more than capable and able to do whatever it is they want to do in terms of movies and story.
They have another leg in terms of Netflix. So the characters they don't put on the big silver screen, they can still do featurettes with them on Netflix, a whole series.
Yeah, definitely. If they really wanted to.
Have been very well done in my opinion as well. So
cool. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, spoiler time. Spoilers! Spoiler alert! If you're listening, Pause it. If you're listening now and you don't want to continue, thank you for hanging out and hearing us out and what we thought about Spider-Man: Homecoming. This is your first and only spoiler alert warning. So if you do not want to hear anything in depth about the movie, please stop now. And as always, check us out later. If you're gonna stick with us, then please stick with us because it's about to get good.
Oh yeah,
it's about to get good.
I think we've talked for like a half an hour, and this was like the just
the general stuff.
Yeah, we
right?
didn't even go into anything.
We're about to get in it. Get in. You ready? I should have got some water because my throat's kind of hurting.
Yeah, see?
You want to get some water?
Should pause it?
You want to take a little quick commercial break?
I think we should, actually.
All right. We'll be back after these commercials.
But yes, thank you for listening. And it was nice to be a part of the podcast for those who are going to stop at this point.
You're welcome, Hector. Anytime. You can come on the show anytime.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I know for you it was only 5 seconds, but it was like an hour or something for us. No, it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we took like a nap actually in between this. I'm kind of grouchy now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I think my opinion about the movie has just completely changed.
Just changed?
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
Actually, I'm not even into this anymore.
Wow, really?
Yeah, man.
That's kind of sad, bro. we just did 35 straight minutes of just talking, and now you're just gonna kill it. Like, what's the hell's wrong with you, dude? I invite you over here to your own house.
It's hump day.
It's hump. Oh shit! It is hump day. I didn't even realize it was hump day.
I'm hungry, bro.
You know why?
I just got up from a little nap.
You know why? Because you just been humping down. You've been doing too much humping on hump day, man.
Humping, bro.
Humping. Every day is humping.
All right. Sorry about that.
I'm not sorry. This is life. This is what you're getting. Okay, this is the quality that you're getting
for right now on YouTube.
SoundCloud. Okay, so getting back into the Spider-Man Homecoming. Now we're gonna get to spoilers again. You've had your spoiler warnings. This is gonna give you one more just because I'm nice. If you don't want to hear spoilers, please stop. If you want to, then fuck it. Listen, go ahead. It's fun. It's good. It's fun. It's gonna be cool. Okay.
You won't be too mad. You won't be too mad.
Hector.
What's up, man?
Where the hell do we even start? There's so much awesome stuff in this movie to begin with. Off the bat, it's just crazy. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's fun. What's one of the best parts of the movie to you?
Spidey's suit, man.
Spidey suit, dude.
Suit, bro.
The suit.
It was pretty cool, and it's like I said, it was not expected for me. I didn't expect everything that it came with. You know what I mean? All the features, and then him being able to unlock more features.
Oh
and,
man,
take
crazy!
Off the training wheels, boy.
Even though he probably shouldn't, he definitely most likely shouldn't have, but he did anyway.
Yeah, and then that was cool because he got to test him out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, but if I think that's what's kind of exciting about it too. It's like, dude, this is what he's able to do now without really going through training. What's he gonna do later? Like, what shit they're gonna come up with later?
And you know what's awesome about it too is that Tony kind of gets mad at him for doing that, but not really, because he kind of expected him to do some shit like that.
I mean, we all know Tony would have done the same thing. You know what I mean? He would have done the exact same shit. Like, dude, no, if I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna use it till it's full, because it's Iron Man.
Yeah, and he's Tony Stark, and he probably did the same kind of crap. Again, growing up as a teenager, he just he in the previous movie they're like, yeah, I hacked into.
I hacked into the internet
the nuclear launch codes. When I was in
high school on a dare. Yeah, on a dare. It's nothing. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was cool. I was a little worried. I mean, I thought it was cool. I was worried how they were gonna integrate him having his own little Jarvis, his own little voice in his suit.
Yeah.
But I thought that played really well. I thought that was really cool. It was funny. Because it was this feels kind of real. She's talking to a person, Karen.
I'm
gonna call you Karen. I was like, okay, you can call me Karen. All right.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was gonna that was super surprising.
Have such a personality. Yeah. I thought the real funny part of that, where it's the fact that it showed humor when it was watching his interpretations of, what's it called? What's that word? When he was making fun of Thor. Impersonations, yeah. I can't talk. I've been talking for almost an hour. Yeah, when he was doing his impersonations, and the suit even said, "Your impersonations are very funny." She was enjoying it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's really interesting. That they're okay. That right there, that's a bond. You know, All right, cool. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Like she thinks he's cute.
Yeah, like she thinks he's like a cute little kid. You know what I mean? Like he's going through kid shit. Like Peter. Oh, like I think that was another funny part where he's trying to talk to Ned about the glowy thing about exploding, and then he's like, "Liz, is that Liz?" like the suit. Is that Liz? Go ahead, Peter. Like tell her how you feel. Like and like adding like edging him on to do it, like just motivating. I thought that was real funny. It's hilarious. Okay.
I never should have told you that.
Right, like no, and he's like, "Go ahead, Peter, kiss her." Yeah, that was really cool. The drone, completely random to me. Never thought of that. Never thought of that. It was cool. It was dope. Some of the things that we did see, like the web lining, I thought was cool because that's original.
Yeah.
The parachute's a bit newer, but stuff I've seen before. I know some people have seen before. It was cool how they did it. Again, it just kind of makes me more curious as to, okay, so that's like 5 or 6 of them, you know what I mean? What else are they going to have?
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, they said like 500 something combinations of shit.
Of web shooters,
what?
Yeah.
Like,
web
insane.
Shooters, bro.
Yeah, that was
awesome seeing the different ones, and then, like, he utilizes them. He practices them, and he screws up a lot at first, which is pretty cool, too, to see, like, the learning curve. And then, like, he gets some time to practice, and you see all the different versions of it. And then, like, you know, you come back to him overnight, and he's like chilling,
right? Yeah,
like very comfortable with like what's going on now. And exactly. I think that was cool because you have. I was thinking, how are they going to approach that kind of like training, you know? And that's how they approach it. Like he just spends a night alone in a locked facility.
In a locked facility, he's
just
like
testing shit out, you know.
Yeah,
so I thought that was pretty
funny.
Cool.
I like that. I love the eyes. I love the eyes so much. They really give it so much personality. I think that's really cool. I can't say more. I can't say any more about it. That it was just so perfect, so spot on. Even like when he like got hurt and he fell in that backyard and his eye was twitching. It's just, like the thing started twitching and flickering because he was all messed up. Yeah, it was cool. And then, you know, it was also really funny to me when he was trying to chase down that van, right, or get to the explosion after, you know, meets the shocker and stuff.
Yeah.
He web shoot. He's in a. He
has to run.
He has to run because he's
there's nothing to.
No, because he ends up running into a golf course, right?
Right.
There's nothing to swing on. And he starts running. Come on, this sucks. Yeah, like again, he's learning. Like shit, I can't do anything.
Right.
He has to
there's
run
no
it.
Buildings to
there's
web
no
sling
buildings,
from.
no.
There's nothing high to web sling from.
Exactly. So I thought that was cool. I love the very, very beginning where you see this personal documentary of him at the Civil War battle and how he's geeking out over everything.
Right.
Happy Hogan I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Something we didn't touch too much on the last one in the pre-spoiler.
Right,
I thought he was a funny character. It's kind of cool to see him because they don't do a whole lot. Yeah, like Jon Favreau. They haven't had him in a lot since he made since the Iron Man movies. He directed the first 2, both of which I thought were really good. Yeah. I would like to see him direct more, but yeah, I thought he was hilarious. So the Happy Hogan was really cool.
Definitely. I mean, Jon Favreau, he always has those like low-key, funny-ass, like kind of like nonchalant roles, and that's exactly what he played in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Really good. What do you think about now that we're able to get in depth? I mean, what do you think about his relationship with Ned knowing his secret? You know, I mean, is that something you thought, oh, that should be fine? But at the beginning, he's kind of putting him in situations. You know what I mean? He's kind of opening he's talking too much. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, I guess that's one thing I didn't like about Ned was that, like, you know, this is a secret. Why are you trying to like
tell everybody?
Put out your right? Like, oh crap! Sorry.
Oh, sorry guys.
Sorry. Like, come on, dude! Like, you're being a really bad friend right now. He told you he let you in on a secret, or you
stumbled upon a secret. Right.
But like, you know that he's Spider-Man. Like, stop being so weird about it and like pushy. You know, and that's kind of what I didn't like about Ned, but I thought he was funny, and yeah, I kind of just put him into some situations. But I thought his character was fine, and the whole, like, he needs some kind of like support system, you know? Like,
yeah,
I think that was the difference between like this and like the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ned is like the only real person in the whole movie, because I feel like in any real life situation, that would be me. I'd be that guy. It's like, my friend's a superhero. I want to know the whole damn thing. Like,
I want to know, but I wouldn't be sitting there trying to tell
like
people.
overdoing stuff, right? Yeah, definitely. But like I said, I like Ned's character. I felt he was just very real. He was very human. He was just asking, like I said, kind of doing things I feel like we'd all do in that situation, you know?
He was excited.
Yeah, he was always excited. He's always, I mean, your best friend Spider-Man. Fuck yeah, I'm excited.
He was just excited to be the man in the chair.
Yeah, the man in the chair. Yeah, the man in the chair. Yeah, that was cool. But it turned out it was a lie. Spoiler: he was just watching porn the whole time.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Nah, he wasn't. He really wasn't though. He probably should have been
porn?
Watching porn. Yeah, that was funny. What'd you think about like his school life and like diving into that? I thought that was really cool just to see him not so much struggle, but again kind of go through this other learning curve of more of like adulthood where it's like, again, heavier responsibility, you know?
Yeah, I think relatable, definitely. We all went to high school. We've all been in that atmosphere. Obviously, they don't really touch on anything super duper serious, but you get this feeling of Peter being young, and there's a lot of room to grow and learn. And I think that's interesting for me, and I think they capture that, pretty well in the movie, and they,
yeah, I think one of the big things that was really relatable for me, especially in high school, is how heavy Peter's relying on something, the quote unquote Stark internship that just isn't happening, you know?
Right.
I feel like we've all kind of been to that point where it's like, but if this one thing that needs me, that hasn't needed me in all this time, needs me for this one time and I'm not there, I'm gonna fuck up, you know?
Right.
I feel like that's happened to like a lot of people, and we could all kind of relate to that. And it's just, no, you know?
Yeah, you're a little overzealous about things, you know, especially when you're young. And I think, yeah, you're right. That does definitely capture some of the youthfulness of everybody that can relate to that. I think, too, with that, he was very distracted. You know what I mean?
Completely.
That's what high school does. It distracts the hell out of you, with different things, with girls, with his outside of, being in school, being Spider-Man. Obviously that's what you want to do full time. If you had those powers.
Yeah, no, I would want to be. Well, I mean, I can be a superhero easy had I had the abilities, but no, exactly. Like, you're stuck in the middle. You have the responsibility of being good, and doing your what you were doing in school. But now, hey, you're a superhero, and again, it's interesting because now he has to figure out that balance,
right?
This delicate balance of doing both.
I think that's the thing, is like he didn't heed that he needed the balance. He wanted to he just wanted to drop out of school and like
to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, be Spider-Man full time. This is what I'm supposed to do. But he needs a life. He needs to be a person.
As a high school sophomore, it's pretty. That's something that you expect. From like that young of an age, having that kind of mindset. Even as smart as he is. Right. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Kind of going back to the relationship he had with May. Going to the conversation we had before, I really liked how they kind of eluded Uncle Ben and the whole in-depth origin, because they do mention he does tell Ned that, I got bit by a spider, but he doesn't say where, doesn't say when, but we all know it was at the Oscorp field trip, and we don't see anything Oscorp. We don't even see the spider at all.
No like
reference to any of that. It's just he's Spider-Man. That's it. We're moving forward.
Excuse me. I'm
Bless
so sorry.
you. God, right? Just sneeze right on my mic, man.
I went like this. I tried to cover it.
What's this? We can't see what you're doing.
Well, I tried to cover my nose, viewers, listeners. I tried to. I didn't make it in time.
It didn't happen.
And first of all, this is my mic.
First off, no, it's not. This is my show.
Anyway.
No, definitely. I thought that was interesting. And then getting into the relationship with Aunt May was interesting because, like I said, we kind of touched on this younger, more adventurous style. It all in all, because I've seen the movie twice. Hector, you've seen the movie just once, right?
Just once, yeah.
Yeah, so in both times of me watching this movie, it made me question how much of an impact Uncle Ben was at all.
Yeah, man.
Because something you brought up about this kind of self-fulfilling like responsibility that he puts on himself, right?
Because in the other storylines, you get this strong tie to Uncle Ben and like his legacy within Peter, which is with great power comes great responsibility, like the very famous Spider-Man stuff. And like you don't have that in this one. He just really like because you were saying that quote like he just I couldn't play football before I had this accident happen or whatever happened, so I'm not gonna do it now. Right. So like he just made that determination for himself. It wasn't motivated by anything anybody had told him, or at least he didn't say anything. Right. So you don't have any ties to Uncle Ben at all.
No, and the only slight reference we get to him at all is when Ned is very adamant about telling Aunt May, and Peter's just like, no, because she's been through a lot, and you kind of assume that a lot is the death of her uncle, his uncle, her husband. Right. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know her name, the actress who plays this Aunt May.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm drawing a blank, and to be honest,
Marissa Tomei.
There you go, Marissa Tomei. Fucking, she's very hot. She's very attractive, very beautiful Aunt May, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, damn, if she's this good looking, what the fuck did Uncle Ben look like? You know what I mean? Like, we talking like a George Clooney is Uncle Ben type stuff, like a really good looking George Clooney. You know what I mean?
I guess we know your type now, Nate.
I'm just saying, man, George Clooney's the shit.
Any George Clooney looking bears
George
out there.
Clooney bears.
You head on over to Nate's.
To be honest,
Nate's page.
No, I'm being dead ass. I'm being real serious. Go. You know who I think would kind of fit this, like, more, I guess, like, attractive Uncle Ben to fit Aunt May? Honestly, like a Steve Carell.
That would be pretty funny.
That would be kind of cool.
Interesting.
That would be interesting because he's kind of, like, he's obviously funny, and he's, I could definitely see that.
You're gonna see, Uncle Ben's ghost, and it's gonna be Steve Carell.
But hey, you know what? Who says we can't have a flashback? You know what I mean? Who says we can't see him in a flashback? So. Take it away. So we basically lose Uncle Ben, but we gain a Tony Stark as a mentor role. Right. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really good how he kind of went about it. And, he even says it himself. Man, he's reminded of him and his father, Howard Stark, which I think is cool. And it really shows, again, this growth in Tony and this care, and all the way up until the point where they have this straight up argument, which I think at one of the best scenes where he's on the boat, right? I forgot. I don't know.
No, I think it's the top of like the bridge or whatever.
No, I know, but it's like after that, right? It's after that scene, which I thought was fantastic.
He saves him from like.
He saves everybody, including him, and that was a good part too because he actually pops out the suit and that very intimidation.
You're not even here.
He's like, oh no, what? What's up? Right? What up? I'm here. Oh shit.
Yeah. What's funny is he did
he backed up.
Yeah. He's like, oh shit.
Oh, okay. Right. But that straight up like, you mess up, that's on me, right? You mess up and they die, that's on you. Right. And if you die, that's that's on me. And the very big line that we saw in the trailers, which very awesome line, if you're not anything without the suit, then you shouldn't have it, which couldn't come from anyone better than Iron Man, it just fits so perfectly.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Dude, my mic.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
I covered my mouth that time.
He got it.
Anyway, no, and Tony went through that himself, which is really interesting too. In his series.
Iron Man 3, right?
Yeah, and he literally had to, like, he had the whole anxiety issues and shit like that, and he had to like function without his suit. And then when you see it in not Civil War, but Avengers, when he gets out of the suit and puts it into Sentry mode, like, you see him acting more as like
out of it, doing stuff.
Like the suit is just an extension of me now. Like as opposed to when he built it, that was like he needed the suit to do anything. So like you said, no better person to tell him that or to like understand that than him. Even though Spider-Man has his own natural abilities. Right. Like the suit doesn't make him Spider-Man, but it's like he's working from an opposite perspective. But Tony's still like. You know what?
Yeah, he gets it. He understands.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it interesting what you were saying about his perspective and how Spider-Man doesn't really believe in himself. Another really great scene is right after another confrontation with Vulture, and
it's his ass kicked.
He literally, he does get his ass kicked, and then he's stuck in the rubble. There's no way for him out. He's lost the suit, which at that point means he's kind of lost his confidence, And he basically like one punch Shocker.
Right.
Shitty. I didn't like the Shocker at all. I'm not even gonna get into that. Yeah. And we have him pinned and he's stuck and he's screaming and I think that's the part where it's like
panicking.
Right, this panic that you see, wow, like he's a real person, he's scared. He's, you know, you don't see him as a superhero for this for that moment, but it's like that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's okay to be vulnerable and scared because it's scary stuff, you know?
Right.
He's stuck.
It's the first time it really hit him like that too, I think.
Like, help me, someone help me, but no. And then again, a very good part because he tosses off his mask into like a little puddle and he sees that half and half face, very iconic Spider-Man image, and then no, you can do it, Spider-Man. And he tells himself, you can do it, come on, Spider-Man, and he get up and he does it. And I think that's the, you know, I think that's the adult in him, you know, that pushing forward and saying, because straight up, he could have stopped. He could have just laid there and waited, you know?
Yeah, and I think
Vulture was just going to get away with his master plan.
It's a very important message for really anybody. I mean, to have some self-confidence and belief in, like, the abilities that you already possess and not that you have to be something. Like, you have to have this title to be something. Like, you already are that. You just have to, like, believe in yourself and see yourself as that, you know, as opposed to something to attain. It is you already. You know, and I think that's kind of like his whole battle was like again, everything was kind of surreal for him. You know, it was very much like Spider-Man is this identity that I, you know,
yeah, like in possess. A way, it was more like instead of Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man, and it's like no, you're the same person. You know,
exactly.
That's exactly what they kind of show in this puddle reflection. Like, no, you are Spider-Man.
You're one and the same. You created this, like, and it is you. And there's not separation. There's not separation of the two. So you need to like have some kind of like balance, you know, between the two things, between like who you think you are or who you think people expect you to be. Tony wants you to be, whatever. And like, yeah, the writing was really good.
That was great.
And the representations that they make, and you know, again, the relatability, and definitely, it works. It works.
Definitely. Now, I really want to get into Vulture. Michael Keaton, fantastic. I think he really, really nailed it.
Birdman.
I think he really. No, that wasn't me, guys. That was an actual bird just flew in here.
Outside.
Just
oh, man, get that thing out of here.
I don't know, man. What's going on? You have like 3 cats. Have one of them kill him. I think Vulture is awesome. I love Michael Keaton. I think he really killed it. Fantastic.
Michael Keaton is like fine wine.
He's like fine wine. Or, you know what else he's like?
Stinky cheese.
He's like some stinky cheese. He gets better with age. Yeah, for sure. What were some of the things that you liked about Vulture? Oh, thanks for.
I'm sorry.
Thanks for tuning in.
I had to check it.
You had to check your phone. Very rude of you.
I'm sorry.
For a guest.
I still heard the question. Just give me a second.
Okay. No. Yeah. I'll ask it again. What was some of the things that you liked about Vulture throughout the movie?
The actor obviously did a great job. The story.
Batman.
Batman, Birdman, Vulture Man. Anyway, no, I think he did a great job, and then kind of the way he was written was again very unique from the previous versions that I've seen of the Vulture, and he kind of takes on this leadership role, and like you said, it kind of seems like he's establishing his own crew of like dudes, you know, superpower, or you know, to fight Spider-Man, to fight back Spider-Man, to do crime, to you know whatever, and you know he took on the persona of the Vulture only in. Not in namesake. He didn't call himself the Vulture. He didn't make an identity for himself. It was who he was. He was a scavenger. He was scavenging the wreckage of the alien parts, making stuff of his own based on that scavenged material.
Which, again, we could say is the whole point of Vulture. In the very beginning, we see him, and this is like right after the first Avengers movie, and he's basically helping the city by unloading and getting rid of dead alien remains until Tony Stark takes it upon himself, and along with the Avengers, to have a specific group to deal with that himself, which they make a good point.
Just to keep it out of people's hands.
Yeah, right, but they make a good point. The people that make the mess get paid to clean it up themselves, you know? Which, you know, it is messed up, but at the same time, you know, if you're a superhero and you caused all this, it's your kind of responsibility to make sure it's taken care of, you know? So, yeah, there's like I feel like the reason's justified for the most part, but I do see what he's talking about. Those, like, the way they kind of went about it.
Any, you know, from any act, there can be both good and bad consequences from it. So, either way. Like somebody's gonna suffer in any situation, really.
Exactly. And then so throughout the whole movie, it's just a lot of it's good mix of mainly character development for Spider-Man because like I said, he's growing and we know Vulture's a threat. He's out there. Right. Beyond Vulture just being what he is, which is a scavenger, he is in the main reason why all these alien weaponry are now out available for access on the street. Right. So anybody, if you're willing to pay, you can get your hands on this crazy tech, which is a problem for anybody. Spider-Man now takes it upon himself to stop that, which leads to Vulture getting directly involved. So moving forward, later in the story, we established that Vulture is more than willing to devote his time to taking out Spider-Man,
killing him.
Right, straight up. He says, I'm going to find him, and I'm going to kill Spider-Man, And then something happens. What happens? Something you never think to see coming.
You just don't, sense it.
Expect it at all.
It should be very obvious, but you just don't get it. For some reason, you just don't.
It's big homecoming. Spider-Man, Peter Parker's lost his new suit and he's kind of dialed it back down. He's slowly getting back into normality, and then he finally asks the girl of his dreams to homecoming. They're gonna go. He goes to pick her up, and who answers the door? Dad. But who's her dad? The Vulture. Right. None other than the Vulture. One of the biggest twists. Like I said, I saw the movie twice, and each time I had that reoccurring, oh no, it's the Vulture.
Yeah, it's one of those internal tics you can't help. Once you see it, you're just like, oh girl.
Oh no. Oh my God, no. Yeah, it's crazy. That was, it was pretty intense. But then at the same time, to see him handle it was very comical. And it's just I'm supposed to fight you in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that part was probably the most tense and awkward for me in the entire.
For you?
Yeah. Oh. In the entire movie, I mean, just in terms of the writing, because it was Spider-Man is really just so in shock that he just doesn't know what the hell
how to react.
Yeah, he's just making very weird looks, just.
Right.
What the fuck?
What do I do?
So he's very dumbstruck by the whole event. So I just think it was very tense and awkward at that moment. That 2 minutes of film, but yeah, and then after that, when the Vulture finds out who the fuck he is through his acting weirdness basically and suspect behavior, and then some stuff that Liz says that kind of sets it off for him. He just sets his sights on him
completely, like the bird of prey. Said bird of prey, I'm about to go after you, dude.
And he just intimidates the shit out of him, and he does a great job. He
I think the best part is when they're at the stoplight, and all of a sudden you see it, just like the green light, it clicks. Really? Okay, I got you now.
This is him, huh?
Right.
And he's out with my freaking daughter.
Right, but then you see a real well thought out person. You know what I mean? I might be saying this weird, but they're in the car and they're talking, and there's a mutual respect. You saved my daughter. I'm gonna save your life by not killing you. And he's doing, as extreme as it may be, he is doing him that favor. He is showing, I am appreciative of what you did. You saved my daughter.
And okay, so before he even knows about him being Spider-Man, right? How would you feel about anybody taking out your daughter? Just being your daughter.
No, by just that by itself, it's crazy.
So it's just that male intimidation factor alongside you're Spider-Man and you're screwing up my business interests.
Right, you're an enemy of mine.
Right. But he's caught in between, he saved her. He saved my daughter as well, so he kind of I owe him one. Yeah. So he's conflicted as hell, and you see that too. But he's still putting the fear of God into Spidey.
The fear of God.
And I think it's an interesting way of they went about it, about the writing and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Thought that was a great part. And then this is what I was trying to mention before, where Peter goes, I think this is very interesting too, where this is where the real part of with great power comes great responsibility sets in the movie, where Vulture gave him an out. Leave me and mine alone, and you enjoy yourself. You enjoy your time with my daughter, and vice versa. This is your one chance. I'm gonna leave you be, but no, he can't because he is a hero and he has that responsibility. I have to stop him,
right?
No matter how bad or whatever. What the cost, and the cost is pretty messed up. He had to leave this girl alone at homecoming. It's pretty shitty. Things guys don't have to do it.
He has to risk never
talking to this girl again. This took all throughout the whole movie. He's just trying to say all this, and he gets to that point, and he has to, through responsibility, throw it all away. And it's a very it's a very adult part in the movie where he realizes I have to do that. I don't want to, but I have to do this. But this is the part I'm talking about. Even though it was like a distracting moment where he's talking with Peter and he's trying to, he tells him, I'm trying to get you to understand. This is not the way the world works. It's cold, it's dirty, and it's gonna do you bogus. Right. You're just a kid, and he, and to a point he's right. He goes, how do you think Tony built that tower? He used to sell weapons to bad guys, right. But again, there is a shift and a learning curve and whatnot. So he has a very interesting point, and I think that's what I was trying to say. It's like he does try to teach him and try to show him that he's not evil. He's doing bad things for good reasons. Right.
Yeah, he's not maniacal. He's not out for just like chaos or destruction or killing or anything like that. He's definitely more of like the honor among thieves kind of thing.
Yeah, he's trying to provide for his family, which is the whole thing from the beginning.
Yeah, and he was trying to do it honestly in the beginning, and he got his balls busted, and he's like, well, if the world's going to screw me, I'm going to screw the world kind of thing, which everybody, I think, can understand. It's like, again, most of the writing in this movie, and just in Spider-Man in general,
it's very realistic.
Yeah, it's relatable as hell. It's so good.
It's so realistic. I'm about to build me like a flight tech suit and like rob a plane. I'm just saying, man. Like, you know
Vulture
what?
Status,
Vulture status, dude.
Hey, I'll make the high altitude ceiling for you, bro.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, bro.
Like you got me?
I got you, bro.
Got me? All right, for sure. We
gonna steal some Hulkbuster parts, bro.
Stuff. That was something interesting too. I'm very curious as to what the hell is Thor's magic belt. What's that?
Yeah.
I'm curious to what that is.
And what's messed up is like I was like, oh man, I want to research it, and then he didn't pronounce the name of it.
Yeah, he couldn't say it.
Right.
What? I was like, what? I'm curious. Okay, so they say.
Maybe it's a joke though.
I don't know. I mean, the movie's coming out soon. We'll just find out.
I guess.
But my thing is like, okay, so he says 3 things. Okay, we got Tony's new Hulkbuster. Cool. Captain America's prototype.
Yep.
Shield.
Right.
And then Thor's the magic belt.
Right.
I want to see all those things.
Right.
You're such a dick. Show me all 3 of those things. Because you know what I'm thinking? Holographic shield. That's what I think. I think that'd be pretty badass. That would be pretty cool.
Or the more square.
The badge one, like a badge, the
Mm-hmm.
badge shape. Yeah, that might be kind of cool too. Because in the newer one, he has that shape now. I'm thinking the belt kind of makes me wonder if Thor's gonna ever get his hammer back. But that's something we're just gonna have to see when that movie comes out. Because I mean, Odin's gone for the most part. Odin's gone. She broke the shit. He can't fix it himself. I don't see how he'd be able to do it unless Doctor Strange and time travel. Low key, I think I just called it like by accident.
Or I mean, isn't there like a crafter in like Asgard that like made his weapon in the first place?
Yeah, it's kind of like in Greek mythology how there's that god that makes them, right? Hephaestus, who makes the weapons. It's possible. I don't know.
Right.
Again,
interesting.
Right. It all depends.
Thread.
I feel like I low-key just called it and kind of ruined it for everybody. Like, I feel like I called it where Doctor Strange's going to come, reverse time, none of that shit happened, and he's going to come back with the hammer and start kicking ass. That would be kind of fucked up.
That would be kind of messed up, and what's messed up is because he's supposed to be in this movie.
Right, he is. That's why.
But you don't see him any other trailers. You don't see his role.
Yeah.
In it. So, yeah, if that's...
I think I just called it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'll give you his home address, everybody, in a later podcast. And you can go and kick him in the nuts.
I'm just saying, dude, if that's what happens, I'm sorry, but it was kind of obvious because it's like, but this is if they really want to give him a hammer. I'm fine with hammerless Thor. I think that'll make it even more interesting. You're taking away what gives you power, and kind of like, again, Spider-Man in a suit. But moving on, this movie was fantastic. I love the end. Scorpion, they segue towards Scorpion as being the next villain. Hector kind of looked up some stuff and saw that there are some villains they know they're not gonna do. So I'm curious if they're gonna continue with like the 2 villains per movie. Who would it be? Who would you guys want? I really want Mysterio, although unfortunately it said that I heard it was gonna be either Kraven the Hunter or Mysterio, but apparently that's not the case. We're just gonna have to wait and see
because of the
Sony thing,
and they're building their Spider-Verse.
Who would you want as a villain? If you can have any villain with
I
Scorpion.
think Scorpion would be badass, right? Like, so yeah, that one for sure. And then like Morbius, man. Morbius has always been really interesting to me. I think again, we had talked about this previously, that Mysterio doesn't get enough credit in the Spider-Verse because he could be a really interesting villain to fight, and especially like the visuals on him would be really freaking interesting. So we've talked about that before, but again, we did look up that article and it seems that that's not going to be possible. I always thought Rhino would be really cool.
He would have been really cool.
Right, would have been really cool, and like I think they took an interesting step with the Andrew Garfield version of Rhino in that like maybe making his suit like mechanical.
Yeah.
So I thought that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it too much. You know, I always wanted a really good Green or Hobgoblin, but they're staying away from that like freaking like the plague, basically.
Right. No. Which is kind of sad because I feel like if anybody's gonna nail a really good Green Goblin, it'd be the MCU.
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
True.
Again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. One last spoiler or one last thing I'm gonna talk about within the spoiler. Notice how I completely ignored Shocker. That's how bad that's how much I dislike Shocker in this movie. All right,
let's just give a short segue to Shocker.
Go ahead.
I think
you explain it because I'm not going to.
He absolutely could have been better done, but it to go back to something that you said about the Shocker was like, well, they never established that he got caught.
Yeah.
So are they going to bring him back in a better context? Maybe this is an intro to him. Maybe he will be the first, like, in the next movie, Homecoming, he's going to be like a villain that Spidey's taking care of. He really, like, he's become this troublesome guy in Spider-Man's life, and he, like, you know, that's his first villain intro into the movie. Like, the first opening scene is him beating the hell out of Shocker and him getting arrested. And you know what I mean? Like, are they going to show him in another context in the second movie? Because again, he only had one of his like shocking things,
right?
Which I thought was weird. I'm like, usually he has the two, and like he does the long range stuff, which he didn't really get too much into the long range stuff either. So that was kind of missing too for me. But yeah, he could have been very well done. And then the fact that it's two different people, that it was like a.
There's one guy, and then killed him. Got the other guy. Hey, you want to be the Shocker?
Right,
okay,
you're the Shocker now. Which, yeah, that was kind of.
You just reminded me a character that we don't see what happens to him either. A very big Marvel character is the Tinkerer. Yeah. He's a very big inventor. Makes a lot of dangerous shit for tons of bad guys. Right. It's most people might know him as working closely with Doctor Doom for the obvious reasons, but that's not obviously the case. So I'm curious what they're gonna do. You know, it seems like he's going to be making this Scorpion suit, which I'd be completely down with. What else is he going to do? You know what I mean? Like, what else is he going to be a part of, you know? So that's going to be really cool.
Familiar with alien tech and stuff. So.
Well, yeah, apparently he's... I thought that was kind of interesting how within a span of 8 years, he's able to almost simply integrate it with our technology. So the dude knows his shit, clearly. Yeah. So last thing, Zendaya. We have to talk about Zendaya.
Okay.
What do you think about Zendaya as confirmed being Mary Jane?
I think it's awesome. It definitely flips the prototypical Mary Jane on its complete side.
But is that okay, though?
I think it is, because they're taking a very different direction than the traditional Spider-Man anyway. I think...
Well, off the bat, this completely threw me off because Mary Jane's name is not Michelle. It's Mary Jane Watson. Right. So that alone was like a big throw off. So it's like, is she not Mary Jane? Are we going to see Mary Jane later?
Right.
I thought that girl was on the news was Gwen Stacy.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so we got no Gwen, which it seems like they might be avoiding just because they don't want to do the death of Gwen.
Right.
I'm fine with. I'm okay with that. So getting back to this basic
Or
Mary
they
Jane.
just introduce her through like a Spider-Verse kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought, you know what I honestly thought, because it did feel like a high school movie, I thought, you know, it'd be badass, like a typical high school 80s movie. We see Mary Jane, who is Zendaya now, and she's kind of like, not bummy, but just not that attractive.
Right.
And then here comes Homecoming. She dyed her hair.
Right.
She looks really pretty. She's very attractive looking, and Peter's like, whoa, who the fuck is that? You know?
You know what I like about the Zendaya Mary Jane is that I think she comes at this Peter Parker on a deeper level than like, because he was obviously attracted to Liz, right?
Right.
So you see, like, okay, that's his version of pretty. He obviously is not really attracted to MJ right now, right? But like through her personality, I think it's going to be a stronger bond between them. And I think that's kind of what's interesting to me about it, is that you don't get this initial attraction to Mary Jane. Like, you don't get this, like, again in the original Spider-Man movies. That's like his childhood crush, you know, like
right. This girl, he's loved her for a long time.
Right, and you don't get that with this. It's not even an immediate attraction at all. They're friends, and she's kind of like sarcastic to him and stuff. And through that, you can tell she likes him.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely obvious, especially at the end, you know.
Right. So I think it's a great take on Mary Jane, because it allows some deeper seeds to form.
I think if anything, it kind of fits the theme of growth, and we might. I feel like at this point, okay, we have established that she is who she is. Now we need her to catch up to Peter in terms of growth, you know, because Peter knows who he is. He has this balance. Everything's kind of worked out for him at the end. Which, one thing we're not gonna forget is that badass Iron Spider suit. Yeah. Give me like 2 seconds though.
That's right.
Just give me like 2 seconds.
Hour and 15
An hour
minutes.
15. It's okay. Just give me like 2 seconds. So I want to see more of Zendaya. I want to see more Mary Jane. I think it'd be cool, like I said, if there's this period of time where they're not together, maybe like they come back from summer break and Zendaya just looks fucking bad. She looks really sexy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. That would be pretty cool.
I think they just need to develop their bond. I don't think she needs to like do this whole like makeover transformation.
I think she has to have the look, because we've seen her with red hair before. That was supposed to be like a little tease of Zendaya posted a photo of her dyeing her hair red, and it was supposed to be, okay, that's how she's gonna look in the movie. I'm just dye your hair, girl.
I guess maybe red. It's like they're waiting to do that. Like, you know, people do go through transformations in high school.
Yeah,
where they start becoming into themselves or trying different things, and I think that's maybe where they're gonna head with that. But yeah, move on. Let's go.
Okay, moving on. 2 things we're gonna talk about, and then we're done. The very end, Spider-Man turns down being an Avenger. Why would he do that?
Goes with the whole theme of growth.
Yeah. Wow, this dude's growing up. No, but seriously though, that was a very awesome and interesting part. Again, a very heavy mentor role for Iron Man. Hey, you messed up, I messed up, but with that Tony Stark charm. But if I didn't mess up, you wouldn't have done good, kind of thing, which is kind of funny. But then, you know what? Peter's been given the one thing that he wanted throughout the whole movie. He's been given that chance.
Yeah.
Here's this badass Iron Spider suit. It's not red and gold though. Here's this badass suit. Put it on. I got these reporters, and I'm gonna now choose an Avenger. You'll move over here. His dream is about to come true. But sure enough, what does he do? I'm good. You're good. Like, you're good. You're good. Yeah. I'm just gonna be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I have to look out for the little guy. And you know what? That's exactly who Spider-Man is. You know. Yeah. Although he has joined the Avengers and he's gone big time, Spider-Man wholeheartedly, even now,
he's a New Yorker, man.
He is, and like even now in the comic, this dude owns a like massive company, makes trillions of dollars. He's still saving dudes from, you know, saving chicks from a purse snatcher, car robberies, basic small stuff. You know, he still does it because that's who Spider-Man is. You know, that's where he started, and that's where he's going to continue to be. Yeah. You know, so I think that's awesome. And then the big kind of character we haven't seen in a while, Pepper Potts. I thought that was kind of awesome. What happens with that, you know?
And because the last note that you see them on is not a good note.
It's not.
But then they talk about getting engaged and having a ring and stuff like that. Like, and that.
No, I think it's like official. They get engaged.
Exactly.
Right.
During that press conference.
Yeah.
So I think that's the funny part of it. And like, but yeah, she returns in a big way.
Yeah, very big way.
And Gwyneth Paltrow, man.
She's beautiful. Yeah, she's beautiful. Great. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Again, this whole movie was overall about growth, and you see it in multiple characters. Yeah. Tony, I think, being the most obvious, yeah. Or just I think the fatherly role, just kind of easier to see. All I can say to end this is I want more. Give me more.
Oh yeah,
manja.
But and you know what? It's so awesome that we get some time to take and to build our anticipation for all this stuff. But we still got Thor coming out.
Oh, we still got Thor.
We still got Black Panther.
Woo! Oh, Black Panther.
Chills.
Tinglies.
All right, well, first of all, before we even stop, we got to talk about the Iron Spider suit. Potential Iron Spider suit.
We have to talk.
We have to.
I don't know if we have time, guys.
Because there's
Do we have time?
Because honestly, it was completely unique, different.
Completely different. I don't think anyone saw that coming at all. No one at all. I think the most interesting part, what makes me think the most about it is like, if this simpler suit can do all this, what the hell can that suit do that's like makes it better, I don't know. My imagine can't handle some shit like that. Like, I don't know if I had the time to just sit down and come up with some better shit.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the repulsor version of Spider-Man.
That would be interesting.
With like, what can this shit do?
What can it do?
Wow.
Is it gonna unfold arms? Because we don't see the back. We don't see no shit on the back. You know what I mean? If that little spider on his chest in the original suit is a drone, what the fuck is that big thing? You know what I mean?
There's so many unanswered questions with
tons
for sure,
tons of stuff,
and I think it's super interesting. And what if even the gold things they just unfold into the arms?
That might be badass too, right? Just like little pincers and shit
come out of the suit and shit. Oh man,
yeah, there's tons of stuff.
I mean, and just the look of it, and the fact that you don't even see it for that long. You just get like punched in the nuts, kind of like how the Wasp suit is like at the end of Ant-Man.
Yeah,
it's just like that looks freaking awesome.
Right.
It's unfinished.
Put it away.
It's unfinished, and then, all right, cool. We're gonna give you a couple years to think about that.
Right, exactly.
Before the next Ant-Man movie comes out. So
yeah. This idea of the Iron Spider. I mean, I feel like we're all now expecting it in Infinity War. You gotta put it on once, bro. Like, he took all that time to make it for you. Put that shit on at least once, But that's all I got. Do you have anything you want to touch on real quick?
No, man. I just hope you guys enjoyed our talks and.
I know you enjoyed Homecoming and our talks. It's not even a question.
Yeah, but if you made it through all these spoilers and you still haven't even seen the movie yet, go and see it for sure. We're not ruining it in any context because even though we discussed everything,
it's just a pure experience.
And there's still stuff we didn't talk about that you might find in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Yeah.
So go for it. Go spend that money on the Discount Tuesday whenever is in your local area.
There you go. There you go. Discount Tuesdays.
But yeah,
exactly.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was really fun. Like I said, I haven't done this in a while. So
yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time because this guy over here is heavy in production mode. This guy's the best. He's working hard for you, for all of us.
It'll pick up tomorrow.
Yep. Thank you, Hector, for grind it, baby. Thank you for sitting and taking the time to talk with us. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, I am Nate, your friendly neighborhood. From the herd. I'm Nate, your friendly neighborhood nerd, and I was with the boss man Hector Barrero, also known as Hilo. Be sure to be on the lookout for more of our stuff. We're gonna do more stuff coming soon, and thanks for listening.
Later, guys.
Later.